Good evening to you and welcome to The Link. This week's edition is quite an interesting one because in one way or another, someone has walked up to you and sold you an insurance policy or even interested you in an insurance policy. And they have convinced you that this is the best policy, be it for life or for education or whatever purposes and needs that you have in your life at that time. There is designed something or get the best policy that is relatable to what you're trying to achieve, and then they sell you that. You buy the policy. However, when you start to enjoy the policy and at some point X you need to claim it, then people have found some challenges. And so hopefully the discussion that we're going to be having this evening on The Link is going to be addressing some of the gray lines in there when it comes to claiming your insurance. I am Priscilla Regina Naloga. Welcome. Now my guest this evening is Miss Jennifer Mirembe Sensua, and she is definitely the best person to talk to. Her profile just says that, insurer by profession, and has had the insurance industry at the palm of her hands for the last 24 years in different capacities. Of course, the longest serving capacity she's had is as head of insurance claims, and this was at ICEA Lion, Uganda. You're very familiar with that. But also currently employed with the Buganda Kingdom as the Chief Executive Officer of Welinde Insurance Brokerage Services Limited. Before that, she's worked with banks like KCB and so on and so forth. But we want to understand insurance claims with her expertise, and we want to first get a breakdown of who is an insurance company or what is an insurance company, and also who is a policy holder. Good evening to you, Miss Jennifer.
Good evening, Miss Priscilla. How are you today?
Very well. Pleased to have your expertise on this conversation.
Good evening, dear viewers. Good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you are watching us from. Insurance. Just before I start the insurance, I also represent the Insurance Brokers Association of Uganda. And that's why I'm here. Insurance is a very familiar subject to many of us, but just to start us off, insurance is an arrangement between parties, two parties in particular. The first party being myself or yourself as the client. It could be an individual like each one of us, it could be a family, it could be a company. That's the first party, and the second party being the insurance company. Between those parties, they agree that the client or the first party transfers their risk, insurable risk, to the insurance company. And in exchange, the insurance company will charge a premium. The first party will pay that premium, and the second party will receive the premium after clearly giving the conditions of how they are going to cover this risk. In that document that we usually call the agreement, in the world of insurance, it's called a policy document. And that's the genesis, in brief, of insurance.
Okay, so Miss Jennifer, then what would lead to contention, or what would be the areas of contention between I, the policy holder, and then the insurance company?
The contention usually comes at the time when there is a problem. The problem or the incident under which the insurance company promised to cover the first party, who is the customer or the client. I'm going to give a very known example of a motor vehicle. Today, Priscilla, you are going to get your very beautiful car and give it to an insurance company to give you a motor comprehensive insurance. And so when the policy starts running, usually it is 12 months, that's 1 year, and you've paid a commensurate premium for coverage for the next 1 year. Along the way, you know how it is on our roads. Someone will come and just run into your car. Or you will be the person who will knock the border, you will knock someone's building, you will knock someone to death. That is the first reason why you will go to an insurance company, and the contentions usually start there. It's very possible for us as customers or clients to forget to pay premium on time. And that right there is the first contention.
Okay, so when you say on time, if I was meant to be paying my premium by 30th of every month, and I do not pay it every 30th, I miss and maybe pay on the 31st or even the following month, that is where the contention would begin from?
Yes, and I want to clarify that. Insurance, as it were, is a commodity or a service that we give, and the receivers of the service are supposed to pay prior to the commencement of the service. Our regulator, Insurance Regulatory Authority, has guided us on a simple phase of cash and carry. That when you have a car and you have been given an actual annual premium, you are supposed to pay the insurance premium at the beginning of the policy. If that premium is not paid at that time and you run into an accident, it means you're technically not on cover. The insurance companies are also generous, and through the insurance regulator, they have given us at least a maximum of 90 days. Those are 3 months, under which ordinarily, on average, you should have completed your insurance premium. But sometimes because we are busy and running around, you can actually forget to pay the insurance premium. And then there's an accident, especially when you do not have an intermediary to support and remind you and follow up to ensure that you have paid. That's where the usually first contention will come from. But fast forward, there's an issue of the policy document I mentioned, that agreement, that the insurance company will give the first party or the client after they have agreed to the terms and conditions of the policy. In Africa generally and in Uganda, we are sometimes very occupied by many things, for lack of a better word, and we do not actually pay attention to the wordings that we are given.
The nitty-gritty.
Exactly. And just so to say, we are lazy to read. And if you do not read that policy document, you will actually not know that the conditions under which you should have paid that premium, you have been given at least 3 months to have completed the premium. And so not reading will be the first issue of contention when there is an insurance claim.
Okay.
And the second being, maybe you read but you have forgotten to pay the premium. And the third being, the one who has got the accident, who is the client, you have a duty of proving your loss to the insurance company. And so those are the 3 major areas that start the contention in an insurance claims process.
Okay.
Yes.
So on the side of the insurance company, when might they refuse to pay out the insurance claim?
Sometimes we get accidents. And I want to use the motor vehicle because I know our viewers, many of them have known, have experienced a motor insurance accident. When there's a claim or an accident on your car and you do not report that accident immediately to the insurance company, that can be a cause for the insurer to decline that claim. We are talking about an accident that will happen today and you remember to report after 1 month. If it's a big or pronounced accident like a bump, a damage to a bumper, a damage to the physical body of the car, it's difficult to forget or to actually report late. But sometimes we get cracks on the windscreen and you keep saying, oh, I'll report the other day. And then after a month, you remember to say, by the way. And what will remind you is if there's another crack on that windscreen, the insurer will have a reason not to pay, because usually in the policies, some insurers will give 14 days under which you should report. At the most, they will give you 2 weeks, which are 14 days, or at the most 1 month for you to report a claim.
Okay.
So anything after that will be a first cause for the insurer to decline the claim. Why? Because you have denied them the opportunity to look at the damage as it has just happened. If there's a crack in the windscreen, for example, after 2-3 weeks, that crack, because of the sun and many other environmental challenges, it could have gone a little higher. So where the insurer would have assessed a minimum damage on the car, by the time you come back to them. And let's just go to the body of the car. Do you know how we drive in the traffic jam and you get all these borders sometimes scratching and scratching? We look at you come out of the car and you look at the small scratches and you say, it's okay. Before you know it, the entire car is full of those scratches. That in itself is a contention to the insurance company, because the insurers will look and evaluate an incident as it happens. So you have one scratch on Monday, you have another scratch on Friday. Those are two different claims.
Oh,
yes. However small they will be, if it results to a damage on your car, our viewers, you have to report that claim to the insurers.
Which begs my next question. Yes. Why is this scrutiny very necessary for an insurance claim?
The scrutiny of a claim is very important for the insurer to ascertain the extent of damage, to inform them on the actual and fair cost of repairing or replacing that damage or loss, for the client to get a fair and accurate compensation.
Wow. All right. So now we do have two parties here that must find a middle ground. Yes. I must get a claim for my vehicle, and the insurance company can do that, or I expect that it should do that. However, when I make that phone call to the insurance company, then I have to go through so many phone calls and maybe so many meetings to be able to even get to the same page after assessments are done of the damage that has been done, depending on what we're talking about. Then the whole process for people watching us, their experiences have really not been good. However, I know that in between there, a solution has actually mushroomed. That solution is the brokers, the person who can come in between the insurance company as well as the policy holder to find a middle ground and make sure that everyone is satisfied at the end of the arrangement. Yes. Talk to us about that.
The brokers, the intermediaries. In the insurance space, just like you rightly mentioned, the insurance brokers are part and parcel of the insurance service providers. But we've not just mushroomed, we've been in the market for quite a bit. And as I speak today, we are 52 insurance brokers, at least by 31st December 2023. IRA market report that was released, we are 52 brokers. And the purpose of the broker is basically to provide guidance, risk assessment, and professional advice for the risk that they've supported you to identify in your business, in your family, as an individual, for your property. We're talking about motor vehicles today. Okay. And the insurance broker will support you from the time that they're looking at this vehicle to tell you that we have options in the market for you to insure. And when you finally, they support you to place a business in an insurance company that they've identified for you. Okay. And so you knock today, you have an accident today. The insurance broker is the first contact entity that you will call, because they are here to support you, the customer or the client.
All right, Ms. Jennifer Mirembe, thank you so much for the submissions, and you've definitely alluded to something that people now need to be confident with in as much as you're dealing with insurance and making sure that your property is insured or things concerning you are insured. Consider the element of an insurance broker. I hope that has added value to your evening in terms of having informed fingers so that you can have an informed decision. Well, thank you so much for watching The Link. Good evening.